Do 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 do. It is really cold outside. A few inches of snow. Wonderful. Or the extra comfy Yoda robe. This is, I don't know what I'm going to do with my X100F. I may be selling it. Maybe I could have a photo contest and give it away. What an incredible camera. Of course, with the X100V coming out, that'll be absolutely marvelous. I don't want to take my eye away from the viewfinder and actually use my thumb. And of course, you could set the quadrant just like you can on the XT30 and the XT3 for autofocus point selection, and it is really, really responsive. I also found out, and I knew that would be the case, because this lens hood, which is actually two pieces, and the secondary piece down here, is also forward compatible with the X105, i.e. X100V, as they're calling it. Let's be brutally honest here. I mean, brutally honest. And I know everybody thinks I'm like a fanboy for Fujifilm, and I'm a fanboy of quality. And of course, I'm not selling anything, and I don't have any affiliate links. But I mean, this past month or so, I went back before making this video in my mind, and I can't think of a single moment in time where, including Hasselblad and including Leica, that Nikon and Canon or anybody, has rolled out such an extremely exciting array of products. I mean that really. Even the people that hate me know that I'm not selling anything. Let's be brutally honest. Fujifilm is absolutely effing killing it right now. I mean, they are. And by their own words, they're a much smaller company. I mean, they are much smaller than Nikon and Canon. And even though I love Nikon, what the hell have they done in the past year and a half? I mean, they haven't. And I'm not the only one that feels that way. A lot of people do. Some really exciting stuff coming down the pike. We've known about this for well over half a year now, that the GFX 100 would get a firmware update. Canon's answer is pixel shift technology. Fujifilm's answer is something a lot more simple and actually a superior design, and then it'll have sub-micrometer movement of the sensor on the IBIS mech on the GFX 100. I didn't know if it'd be 2 shots or 3 shots, but apparently it's going to be 4 shots. And since it'll be moving so fast, you might be able to, and I don't know this, do handheld photography with this new firmware update that's coming for the GFX 100. It shouldn't arrive any later than a few months from now, from their indications, since I just mentioned it in their live stream. So you'll have essentially single-shot 400 megapixel images. I mean, that's be incredible for architecture, macro, product photography, countless things. I mean, as if the 102 megapixel images from the GF. Who the hell has anything even close to that? And the answer is nobody does. I've seen the IBIS mech inside the GFX 100, and it has huge copper voice coils in it, but I wondered why it was so extremely, far more precision than anybody else's IBIS mech, and that's obviously the answer to that. Obviously they've been experimenting and known that they could implement that for even before the camera was released, so that's one thing that's incredible. The X100V that's coming out at the end of this month, and the fact that, and a lot of the idiots out there talking about this camera, they don't understand what a leaf shutter is. They don't understand the fact that it has a built-in ND filter. This is a built-in 3-stop ND filter, as well as the prior X100T, which I also own. But the new one will have a 4-stop, it's actual physical filter, it's not an effect, a 4-stop ND filter. But it also, too, has a leaf shutter. And I've made countless videos on the incredible advantages of leaf shutter. I know the lens is a lot sharper, but touch for autofocus point selection. I'm actually extremely excited about this. I think I'm almost even slightly more excited by a lens that, even though I haven't reviewed it yet, I know it's going to be incredible, because the 32 to 64 GF lens is already, is really incredible. That's also an f4, but the 45 to 100 is the 45 to 100 equivalent focal length is essentially a 24 to 70, 35 millimeter equivalent. So that's coming at the end of this month. Not a cheap lens, but nevertheless, I've been waiting for that lens. Fujifilm, and I was the first person to say this on YouTube. Thank you very much. I was. I said Fujifilm, when they first announced their first medium format camera, the GFX 50S, everybody said, oh, it's an experiment. They're never going to make any money at it. You know, medium format's expensive. I said, no. Fujifilm is going to conquer medium format. And I said that many times in many videos. I was 100% correct. I was 1,000% correct. And I said, listen, people, they're not developing a new line of medium format lenses for one damn camera. There's going to be a whole array of medium format cameras, and boom, boom, boom. I've currently got the 2 of them. I hear my GFX 100 is going to be here within the next 10 days. The one that I'm getting from my local retailer. That's huge. So the 45 to 100. And of course, everybody's waiting on the XT4. One mistake that I did make is I forgot the fact that lithium-ion battery density has gotten a lot tighter. We know that due to the Nokashita leak that the XT4 battery is going to be a bit over twice the capacity, basically 1200 milliamp versus 2350 milliamps on the new XT4 battery. And the reason for that, there's one thing I'm absolutely not wrong on, is that the reason for the implementation of that is really, really hardcore constant boost and nearly endless buffering for a serious ass sports action wildlife camera. And I actually have to concur with Fuji Rumors when they said their source said that the XH2 would not come this year. And it makes sense. Fujifilm wanted to implement a easier to faster to production XT4. Also, one other thing that I'm also right about is the reason why the XT4 is coming so relatively soon, considering the XT3 hadn't been out that long, is because there is, and I'm 100% right on this, there is no chance in hell, none, that Fujifilm will miss the 2020 Olympics, which are, by the way, hello, in Tokyo. Fujifilm is going to showcase, Fujifilm is going to put on their bright red shiny Speedo, and as it were, so to say, it said, look at us. This is, you know, well, the other hardcore sports action folks are out there shooting with their Canons and their Nikons. Fujifilm is going to drop a bomb on, relatively, literally, on Canon and Nikon. Say, look at what we brought to the Olympics. And also, too, they said there's going to be 3 more lenses this year announced for X-mount, in addition to the 50mm. One of those lenses, if not more, but absolutely one of them, has to be a huge-ass hardcore sports action telephoto, and most likely a prime. I'm guessing, and it's only pure speculation, a 300mm f4. It couldn't be any wider than an f4. It'd probably be a 300 f5.6. Be a really compact lens, relatively easy to produce, not super big, nowhere near as big as a 200mm f2, which I also happen to own. And of course, they already have the 200mm f2 lens, which is hardcore sport, really fast autofocus. They could come out with a super amazing zoom telephoto lens, but I seriously doubt it. No. One of those 3 lenses this year, which will be shown for the Olympics and used in the Olympics with the new XT4 to showcase Fujifilm's power, should be something like a 500mm f5.6. It could even possibly be a 400mm f5.6 or a 300mm f4. Anything larger than that would be just no damn way. And it can't be larger than the 200mm f2, which is already ginormous. But Fujifilm, relative to Nikon and Canon, is a pretty small company. And I crushed my brain before making this damn video. And I thought, when in the past several decades that I've kept my eyes peeled to camera stuff, has any of these companies done something like this? And the answer is never. Everybody's really excited about the XT4. But the one thing I was going to talk about that I might have gotten wrong is because lithium-ion battery density has gotten so much tighter. In other words, you can cram more milliamps in a smaller battery. That it is possible, because the XT4 we know is going to have IBIS, so it must be at least about 3mm to 4mm thicker. That could accommodate a 2300 milliamp battery with a much larger grip. Not much larger, but significantly larger than the XT3 currently is. I'm still holding to the fact that I had 2 sources tell me that it is an integrated, non-removable vertical grip, and that would make more sense. It's also easier to manufacture. As far as magnesium chassis and weatherproofing, when you do that, and also, too, it would have to be Fujifilm's flagship camera for the Olympics. Nikon and Canon have only ever dropped their serious flagship camera. Nikon has already announced it, so has Canon. Fujifilm is going to announce a super hardcore flagship camera. It makes all the sense in the world that we already know, because of the Nokoshita release, it's going to be 2300 milliamps. And I know they're going to release a huge-ass prime lens. Now, so far as whether it's going to be, a super huge long stick battery like the D5, Nikon D4, I don't know. I still think that it will be, but because of lithium-ion density getting smaller, it could be, but still that would be a pretty damn big battery, because this equivalent Sony battery, which is a bit over 2,000 milliamps, is still a significantly honking battery that would not fit in the form factor of the XT3 or an XT4. But we'll have to see on that. But I mean, this is an exciting circle. Fujifilm, too, I think they did it as a loss leader to get people to say, why the hell did Fujifilm, and I just bought that damn lens, the 50mm 3.5 for the medium format, says people say, why the hell did they cut it in price in half? Even my local camera retail store manager called me and said, did you hear about this? This is crazy BS. That medium format lens is half off. He said we had a few of them and we sold them all like that. And I think Fujifilm did that as a loss leader, only pure speculation to draw people further into medium format. The one thing that I got right that Fujifilm themselves got wrong is that when the GFX 100 came out and I had it for a month to borrow, I said Fujifilm is going to sell the hell out of this camera. And everybody said, oh, no, you pet tattooed loser, you're so full of it. It's an expensive $10,000 camera. It's a specialty camera. I love it when people kept saying, they kept calling it like a narrow use camera. What the hell were they keep calling it over and over again to me? They said, oh, that's just a limited use, something like limited use. Like, no. And I was right. Fujifilm got caught with their underwear down on that camera from what I know. And that when they released it, they sold what they anticipated for the entire year like that. And that's a serious reason for the shortage. I can't wait to get my hands on that camera. And also, too, knowing now that it's going to be submicrometer IBIS movement on the GFX 100 for firmware updates, so you could take, like click, okay, that was it. Oh, it's an interpolated, processed in the camera, of course, 400 megapixel shot. It'll actually be 408 megapixels, right? Oh my God! It'll eliminate out all moire, it'll make color look better. I mean, it'll really, as good, actually the GFX 100 images don't look good at all. They look, oh my God, amazing! As amazing as the GFX 100 images look like, the fact that, and I don't know why nobody talked about this, but this is Fujifilm's answer to Canon's pixel shift, dual pixel technology, which is sensor level. Fujifilm, in their infinite wisdom, said, screw that. What we're going to do is we're going to take this existing IMX, 461 sensor that's in the GFX 100. It's a backside illuminated 102 megapixel sensor. What we're going to do, we're going to mount that frigging sensor on our proprietary in-house Fujifilm designed super precise IBIS mech, and then half a year after it's released, we're going to drop firmware update that will allow submicrometer movement better than pixel shift for making effectively single shot, 400 megapixel. I mean, ingenious. I mean, that is just unbelievable. That's tougher than woodpecker lips. That is the cat's ass. The bee's knees. That is cashew butter slathered on pecan sandy cookies. That is like taking hot banana bread and slathering it with sunflower butter and then going put some whipped cream on it. I mean, that's frigging amazing. And my GFX 100 will be here very, very soon. This is amazing. I'm so excited for what Fujifilm's done and is announcing. So the end of this month is the X100F dropping, the updated brother to this one. The 45-100, which I cannot wait to get my freaking hands on. Take my damn money now. The XT4 will be announced at the end of this month for release sometime later in the year. But I mean, there's already people out there that are playing with it, and they're the hardcore folks that are going to be at the Olympics. Fujifilm right now somewhere in Japan, there's like a dozen lenses. I'm guessing maybe like a 500 5.6 that is designed to mate with the new XT4, and lo and behold, Fujifilm is going to show their bright, shiny, reflective red Speedo thong at the Olympics. and do one-upsmanship on anything that Nikon and Canon have, which we already know what the hell they've got. You see, Nikon and Canon have already played their deck. Fujifilm knows it as well as the rest of the photographic world because you've seen it. It's the Nikon D6 and Canon's new bombastic monstrosity. Fujifilm's going to outdo both of them. That's amazing. They've already got the 200 f2, which is epic for sports action, but they're going to combine that with a far superior, incredible, probably a bottomless buffer, because we know the D6 is going to have a bottomless buffer. The Fujifilm X-T4 is going to have a bottomless buffer, and it wouldn't have to change media card slots either. Using ultra-fast SD cards that currently exist, you can still have a bottomless buffer. The buffer is not merely card side, it's also on the main board for buffering that info. People fail to realize that. You could have the fastest media card in the world, but if your camera doesn't process the information quickly, who gives a damn? This is really exciting. Fujifilm is going to announce the X-T4 at the end of this month. The 45-100 is coming at the end of this month. The X100V is coming at the end of this month. And sometime in the first part of this year, the 400 megapixel shot firmware update for the GFX 100 is coming. That, and later this year, Fujifilm is going to announce 3 more X-mount lenses. Fujifilm is effing killing it. Mic drop. That was a stone drop, though. Just killing it. I mean, this is amazing. I said I've never seen another camera company do this. And Fujifilm is a much smaller company than Nikon and Canon, which makes it even more impressive. Fujifilm is like that guy that Fujifilm is like MacGyver. You know, you give him a Swiss Army knife and some Canon fuse, and they'll like build a castle or something. They're just doing more with less. This goes to show you that the bigger a company is doesn't mean it can make fantastic stuff. Smaller company, giving really smart people that use their money and stick it in research and development wisely can do a way better job. And that is impressive. Wait for it. Wait for it. Fujifilm.